All right. Let's send this out to you guys. All right, link sent. I'll give everyone like a few minutes. Get this going at 5. Share screen. Okay. Ooh. Shrink ready. Yeah, it's being recorded too, so I'll write that in the chat too. All right, so 2026 prediction show. Anybody that's new, it's all good fun. Um, I just like to mess around. It used to be a lot funnier on these. It's become a little bit more analytical. I didn't have as much time today, so I said that last time too, and I saw I went an hour 42. So probably going to keep this one to an hour. Um, what else? I think one thing I was thinking about today is this might be year 29. This might be the most competitive. Um, literally, that's a funny text, man. This might be the most competitive league that we've ever had as a whole. Year 29, there were times where there was always like 4 or 5 people that were really solid, and then 4 or 5 maybe that didn't do their team, or 2 or 3 that didn't do their team, or did it for half the season and didn't do it for the remaining. But I mean, I told you guys last year, Josh came back, heavy hitter, he wins the league. And I just like collectively, especially when we've turned it to total points this year, activity is super important. So everyone here I've played with previously, in whatever sport, or currently playing with in another fantasy sport. So and I think you noticed it too yesterday by going through the draft, and it's like, snipe, 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 and it's players that are in like the 300 points, right? Like it's like, of course, we all wanted Scooble. That's not really a snipe. That's just, everyone wanted him. But I think when you start yelling snipe and you got to have guys down to 300, that tells you a lot. But I mean, Chris is in the hockey league. I believe he went to the playoffs 2 years ago. Super active. Thought he had a pretty decent draft for the cards that he was given. Justin, who I had, I think, eighth last year, went to the playoffs. I believe he was in the 3-4 matchup, brother-in-law versus brother, right? Brother-in-laws versus each other. I think if that, but he left and made the playoffs. So he was either in that 3-4 or lost the quarterfinals, I guess it would be. Like I said, Josh, a heavy hitter, won it. My dad's been in forever, obviously competitive, active, in the hockey semis, was a couple years ago too. Mike, I feel like always somehow finds a way to get in the playoffs, even though he either doesn't have the best drafts or he does what I appreciate. He goes for it every year when he thinks he has a team to do so, which is my favorite thing to do. So He's always there. Tom, I mean, Tom is, I now that I've done 4 drafts with him, it's something I don't want to take away from my cool points later on, but I feel like he's the most balanced drafter I've ever been a part of fantasy leagues with. Like, he never has a peak in the infield or never has a peak in just NHL fantasy offense. I feel like he drafts always has a really balanced team, like a solid on both ends, and then kind of finds a way to make it work. Paz always competitive. He made a run at it last year, finished second, which was fun to root on. Jay is obviously always, we talked about that last year, the back and forth. Nico, super competitive in baseball, and now we got Vinny too, who competes in every single league that we have. So I mean, this as a whole, I think of a 12-person league, of all the baseball years, I think this is the most competitive. There's a lot of heavy hitters, a lot of people that are all going to be active, and it just kind of propels you and propels the league. So I'm really looking forward to this year. I don't remember when we've had this collection of a group. What else? I always do like a little intro. The draft, like I said in text, I'm not joking about that either. Nico and I have been talking about it for a few weeks now. Let's pull all our money together and find a better way. It's ridiculous that you have places like CBS who I think it's 189.99, and they don't even have all the things that we need. And my league we dubbed it down a ton. This is nothing crazy and out of the ordinary and special. It's literally something pretty basic, and not everybody has the options for this stuff anymore. So I think that's a great invention for us. I have another one that I really like a lot, but maybe we'll do 2 of them or something. I don't know, but it's crazy that we have to go through it. I thought it went relatively well. Maybe next year we do like a slow roll right after keepers are submitted or something like that, and get that going a little earlier. I'm exhausted today, but I wake up earlier. That's no excuse to me. And I'm sure I know a lot of us do, but just tired. So I just wish there was a better way. There's just not when the trading and picks involved. I think that's it. So again, for anybody who hasn't done it, this is all good fun. I'm not as funny as I used to. I used to kind of pick on everyone a little bit. I noticed some interesting trends. We'll go through the basics. Infield ranking. The rest, remember, the rest is left field, center field, right field, DH utility, total offense ranking, starter ranking, bullpen ranking, total pitching, total team. And I did a little something different this year that we'll touch on. And I'm going to call that like my ranking without pen. So I kind of have 2 ways that I think the league could finish this year, like one with the pen involved and stuff, and then one without. And I'll kind of touch on both of those. So that'll be brand new. I go bottom up. So the longer you stay on, if you don't hear your name, the higher you are up. The quicker you hear your name, maybe I'll give you an easy way to log off. All right, first team up, unfortunately, is Paz. I know he'll expect this. So as we were kind of just talking about yesterday, Paz went all in last year. He had a really, really solid team. I thought really ultimately, I know we did the weekly projections or predictions last year. The commissioners of 4 or 5 of us, however many there were, I think 5 of us. And I think each one of us, we did a little write-up for a little while. And for basically the whole time we had said Paz was the best team for a really long time. This is super small. I hope it's not as small on your guys' screen, but should I move it maybe? Was this small yesterday too? I should be wearing my glasses. All right, whatever. So anyway, he really had the best team all year, and then we had that awesome fun. What I enjoyed the most. Anybody, ask Nico, ask if any back in the day, or my parents, anybody. I love the GMing part of this. Like, winning's fun. It's whatever, but like all the trading that we're doing, and I think last year we had like 27 trades in the 3 days leading up to the trade deadline. It was so much fun. I had a blast. It was a blast to watch everyone wheel and deal. And Paz was one of the ones that most active. He acquired a bunch of people, and I think him and I kind of got hurt a little bit because in previous years, a lot of us end up trading all of the extra players we have that we acquired to kind of make that run. And you end up making a little bit back draft pick wise for others, but since maybe because it was a fresh keeper year this year, people had their own guys they wanted to go with and didn't need to supplement some injuries and stuff. So I think that hurt Paz and I especially because I dealt a ton last year, and then my team was so hot cold. I was really hot and then super cold for like 6-7 weeks, and then got hot again, and then got cold like 3 weeks. Started trading, and then I was super hot 3 weeks up into the playoffs. So I kept kind of going back and forth trading and then grabbing and then trading and grabbing. And so for people like me and Paz and Mike too, another one, we kind of got bitten by the fact that like not one deal was done pre-keeper. So now you have all these players that end up having to go back in the draft. And you can only keep 4 of them. So that hurt us a little bit, but at least Paz was able to build a team. So I have him at 12th. Infield, he's 9th. The rest, dead last at 12. Total offense at 12. Starters, I actually like his staff at 6. Bullpen, which doesn't matter to me, is 10. And then total pitching as 10 with bullpen, starter, and then total team. I have him pretty low, under 10,000. He's the only one I really have under 10,000, and then under 9,000 without the pen. But this is expected. Like I said, he went for it. And to me, I think that's the way to do it. Like, Paz, he took second. He's covered for the next 2 years and 5 months of fantasy baseball. He's playing with house money. I think the amount Josh won, he's covered for 6 years, right? Yeah. Six carry over the 5 is 300. No, more than that, 6.5 years. So Josh is playing for free for 6.5 seasons. Paz is playing for free for 2.5 seasons mathematically. So, I mean, to me, that's how I always do it. I always, you worry about the year at any point in time. You never know. And, for Paz, like I said, I don't mind his staff at all. So, like, one thing I was giving tips to a couple people just to guide them that are new. Like, pitching is so important here. I don't think that will change because the total points change. But like you always will find offense to replace. Pitching, you can't find replacements because the rookies come up and they're dazzle for a month or two or a month usually. Then they get figured out for 3 or 4 weeks. So then they're out. And then right when you're about to they start kicking back up, they get shut down. So you can't really find those. Like you'll find like 2 or 3 gems that like last year. I know Noah Cameron was one. I think Paz actually has them, which is funny. Or like Chris Buback was one. And there was somebody last year who like we all he stinks and he had like a great first half and like 3 quarters. Anyway, but so you find like 1, 2, or 3, but like to get the guys that are averaging over 20, it's super few and far between. So if you're going to be on the downside of it, you really want to be kind of on the downside, the offensive side and not the pitching side. So Kirk is fine. Devers, again, like I found some outliers. Devers isn't a crazy one, but I still think this is kind of low. I guess they're banking off this San Francisco. Hard to hit as a lefty in Boston though, also. And I know, this is not a park-friendly park for hitters, but like Boston center field, right field, that right center area is death for lefties. Ozzie Albies, 509 seems low in a rebound year. He really kicked it up. I mean, their whole team died last year, literally, plus the suspension. So they had no help. Atlanta packed it in early, both offensively and pitching. Matt Chapman, 435, I guess, kind of right at this career. I mean, here's a building block. So, Paz drafted him last round, and now, he has him forever. He's building around Geraldo, and I think Peralta was his 4-3. So, you get building blocks also going forward too. Riley Green, 491, fine. And then, he kind of takes a hit here. Bretton Doyle, Adolis, I kind of want him as a backup. He will be on the steroids again. And I mean, that's a bandbox there. I believe they've been no lower than 3 on park factors since like 2019. So this should be a good spot for him. Texas goes in those lulls with the humidity crap they're always fucking around with in the stadium. Ivan, I actually like him a lot. I forget what I had him for a while last year. I forget if I ended up making my primary and I dealt with Ruiz. He had some randoms last year. I want to say it was like a hamstring, a minor concussion or something. But there was a while he was really killing it. And I was actually playing him. And then before Dillinger for the Tigers got split, I was playing all 3 catchers a day. I like him a lot. I forget what they were, but they were like he had 3 or 4 minor things in a row, and I kept having to like hold the 2 and then 3. But anyway, Tyler Ward, this was a big thing this year for anybody in fantasy baseball. Orioles moved their fences in. I think it was 40 feet, 40 feet. Sorry, and then they also cut them down. They were 22, I believe, down to like 12 or 14 or something like that. So anybody like the Alonsos, you probably should add at least 10 to. Tyler Ward, Mashes, handiness, probably adding another 10 to him. That's kind of why I end up going with Gunner. He should, everybody in that lineup should get propelled back. I don't know why they moved him back in the first place. They basically moved him back and then moved him forward. I don't know. Maybe they had money to spend in Maryland tax money. I don't know. Luis Robert, Paz hates him. Surprised that he took him. Larianos, fine piece. Correa, downside. I was reading on Berger. So it's just, he doesn't really have much on the bench here. Offense, he doesn't really have a punch guy in offense. I like to call him Ped, but Ped's the good punch guy. But I mean, outside of that, and then Devers, you got to know what a full season is, but there's not much. But like, I like this here. Like Peralta is a stud. Pivota is awesome. Kirby was a great pick there. Miz. The only things that scare me about this, and why Nico didn't go with him, and I know he was kind of feeling this way about McLean is like. I don't remember the stat off the top of my head. I wish I had more time to do it, but Skeens is like the only pitcher to not have a sophomore slump, or essentially his numbers doubled in like the last like 42 years or something like that. So, what did he finish with last year? 256. So if you times that by, I think he was probably came up like around midway. So if you times that by 2, and that takes him to 500-ish, he's projected at 561. He probably has 2 times, the regression is not going to be there. Maybe he's like a 450. So this will be a good piece if Paz has his 1 year open next year, which I know is why Nico went with McLean in the 2 spot, knowing this year may be a wash, but he has him for next year late. I don't know where did Paz take him here, 4th round. That might be early to throw a 1 year at, but. I don't know. That's my only worry about them is that stat that's been around forever is like, why Skeens is still touted. I know nothing about this guy. I honestly didn't even remember Paz taking him. Senga, I mean, I don't know. It's more of a health thing. It seems like a lot of these Japanese pitchers are losing velocity when they get, I have that stat too, which I don't have off the top of my head, but, their transition both offensively and defensively is like it was under 20% or something like that into the MLB. So concern there injury wise and also just skills translating. I mean he's shown some glimpses though. And then Cameron, I mean he's a nice piece. I didn't realize how well a 299 last year is unreal. He just doesn't strike anybody out. I mean 114 is kind of abysmal. So you gotta really rely on like really real quality starts. He's get 5.78 here gets him to that 30 range, but if he's not throwing that, 2, this is a great start. But if he gives up 4 here, lose a quality start, and he sets out his standard, 4 or something. Like where's like a good one? Like here's that's not a great example. Like here's a good example. This is a pretty decent start, honestly. If you really think about 4 runs over 6 and a third, but he only Ks 1, so he ends up getting 11. So, he struck out 7 here. Seems weird that he only has 114, and he's kind of striking out. Looks like really just raw off my eyes is like kind of like an average of 5. Yeah, this isn't so bad. Guess he didn't start his first start till July 2nd. So I don't know. So maybe this will be interesting to see what he throws in a full year. Because, when you look at it like this, 114 is pretty awful. But then when you look at it here, it looks like he's kind of more in a 5 average pace, which isn't terrible. This isn't just long enough here. But here, like 6.2 and 8. It's a great start. Doesn't get the win. Here, 7. This is a great start here, 5 and 6, 25. Yeah, I don't mind him at all. So I like this staff. Little regression, but this is a 1, 2, 3 great punch. Cameron here, pauses. There's one of the only few, and that's why he's so high that has this many above 600. So I always used to say in the head-to-head you had to have 5, but I don't know. That may change a little bit. So I got Paz at 12. I would say he's got to do a lot of work to be able to propel himself into the money. He'll be first, second, third this year. Um, but yeah, I don't I see him on the outs right now. 11. So I went back. I actually went back and listened to. I have Justin. I went back and listened to last year because I wanted to see where I had Justin and if I just he's someone that I just don't particularly like his drafts. I don't like. I swore when I was watching him yesterday, I was like, oh man, I like where he's going with this, and I thought he was taking the picks he was because like he already was full and he was kind of supplementing. This literally reminds me for anybody that's been in the league for 5, 6, 7 years. This is a Ryan O'Rourke team special right here, which I will never understand in fantasy baseball. I think Jay kind of used to draft like this back in the day too, like with the rookies, or was it Jimmy? Jimmy did a little bit too, and O'Rourke. Like I don't get this, right? So it's already like 1 in 1.78 million just to get to this spot that Connor Griffin, Kevin, and Charlie Condon are in, right? So then you're taking 1.3 million, and I mean, Paz is my math guy, but like then you're statistically breaking that down to who's actually going to be successful. Like, and then when they get to the MLB, which I would think I'm just going to go like off of a raw number, like probably times two. So now you're talking like drafting having three guys on your team that are at like a 1 point, I don't know, let's just call it like 3 million shot, 1 to 3 million shot to be like a like successful player. I'll never understand like the method to that madness. And O'Rourke always used to do it. He'd have a great starting lineup and then he would never have a bench. And then per usual in baseball, a couple guys go down and then you have nobody to replace them. And I thought for some reason in my head there was a lot going on. It was hard to do all three screens. But and I just thought while I was typing the names in, I was like, okay, like he's supplementing with Connor Griffin, he's supplementing with Kevin and Condon. And look, they could end up all being great, but I just don't. For me, I don't want 1.3 million shot, 1 to 3 million shots on my team. And I really just don't like this team. I thought this was like solidly and filled in, and I think like definitely value wise, probably right. I would say either me or him probably went in with the best keepers in terms of value where our keepers were compared to where they were in the draft. Like all my four keepers were in the top 40. And not one of them, Freed was a 3, but the rest were 8 and 14, 18. Like he had the Roman Anthony back there. I mean, all his keepers besides Scooble were late in the draft. So I was like, okay. Then I was like, oh, maybe his big dogs were later. And then I don't know, it just kind of like Nito maybe is a questionable keeper too. Kind of forget everyone. I mean, Nico has some pretty good value on his too. Acuna in the 5th is wild, but I don't know. Anyway, I just something went wrong here. I just don't like this team. Now, last show I went back and watched last year, and I have him at 8, and he made the playoffs. And like I said, he either made that 3-4 game or the 5-6 game quarterfinal game. I forget. So maybe I just particularly don't like his drafts or he's looking. I mean, like Luke too. Like I know he's already starting and he kind of proved himself last year, but this is essentially 4, right? I mean, we're at kind of like at 4 now. Roman Anthony in the sophomore slump. We're at now that's 5. He has 5 guys in the same type of like realm. I mean, you could even kind of add Matt in there a little bit. I mean, I guess you could say he's over the sophomore thing, right? So then maybe not. He's like a 4.5 ish. So yeah, I don't know. Not exactly for me. I have Justin as the 11th infield, 8th rest, total offense, 11th, starters 7, bullpen 1. Which anybody that knows me knows if you have a great bullpen, I don't care, and it's not going to be my rankings. And then I have him 11, or I have him 10 overall with the bullpen included, 11 overall without the pen. So like I said, like Ben Rice, I don't know. Like, I don't know what they're going to do with him here. I don't know. Is he going to go back and forth? Is he going to sit at first and they're just going to do Wells Rice? Last year, towards the end of the year, at least, they played him more catcher a little bit. Then the value goes up and you still have the catcher eligibility. You get it, but then you're losing putout points. You're not going to get as much as a catcher as you are a first baseman. I mean, we are all adding 200 to every first baseman essentially. I mean, I've had years where I had Mitch Moreland and Carlos Santana at age 38. I mean, they put up 600 points just sneezing. So I don't know. But I mean, 472 is pretty solid as a catcher. I'd have to look to see when we get to Nico what Contreras was, but it's solid. I just, I don't know. Like this incorporates a little bit. I don't know how much they put in here. Yeah. Also, no defense at all either for the catcher. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. Fine. Wilson Contreras. I don't know. And what are they going to do when I know what's his name is coming back, and I know he's injured every year, so it may not matter anyway. But at some point in time, he's going to be back. Yeah, I don't know. And then, like I said, Luke, are we any concerns about that? I don't even know who this is. Sal Stewart. Okay, so now this is another one playing at least 30. It'll probably be in spring at both spots, injury marks. So yeah, so here's another one. So now essentially he has 5.5 guys that we're relying on a 1 in 3 million shot. One, yeah, like I don't know. Zach Neto, yeah, he's okay. I mean, there's definitely a lot better shortstops. I think he had him late. Roman Anthony, got to always worry about the sophomore stuff. Julio Rodriguez, I mean, he had a pretty bad year for him last year, and I was really shocked that he took him this early, second round. There was at least, in my opinion, 20 to 30 better players available at that point in time. But I don't know, maybe he sees a turnaround or something different. I mean, he had guys around him that had historic seasons too, and he kind of got worse. You would think a historic season from Cal Raleigh would help out a little bit. Alec Burleson, nice utility piece for eligibility is great. Hunter Goodwin, I'm guessing is he going to just take most of his stuff at DH? So if he is, this takes away from his catcher eligibility a little bit, but may end up being a Coors Field play, flip and flop with Ben Rice, something like that. Although I think Yankees has been 6, 7, 8 in park friendly the last 5 years also. And then we have Will Smith, another one. The thing that concerns me about Dodgers, and I don't want to get repetitive and talk to me, but I mean, they're already talking about how they're going to limit Dodgers games. They want everyone healthy. They just want to win another World Series. And then all their pitchers are also going to split. So it's like, I don't know what we're going to get. Like they were talking about Freddie Freeman, 120 max. It's like, so are they going to do this with everyone? Like, Mookie Betts at his age isn't going to get the PT that he used to. I kind of steered away from for that. So you would think, Will Smith goes in that category. I still puts up great stats, but he's trending in that direction. The starter's trending in that direction. I don't know. As Turner, that's going to be a big thing going with Turner. Or Tucker, for Tucker. So I don't know. Those things just worry about. I know they're going to rake and they'll probably put up, I don't know. They'll probably average 6 or 7 runs a game by the end of the season. But I mean, you're just in a total points. You're missing 60 games. You got to find a solid backup for. I don't know. They just concern me. 62 games, right? If they're going to max these guys out at 120, 62 games, you're trying to hope you have an elite backup or a double shortstop, a double for Betts, a double catcher. Again, I guess that's irrelevant, but a double first baseman. I don't know. It's just something to think about. And then we have another catcher here. And then, again, we're here doing potential sophomore. How old's this kid? Catcher of the future. So we got 6.5 players here. This is a Ryan O'Rourke special to me, which just concerns me. And then, I mean, after Skubal, there's really not much here. Like DeGrom, is going to get hurt right at some point in time. Chase Burns was kind of terrible, and then now has to deal with the sophomore stuff. He was electric out of the bullpen, but maybe that means he's going to be a bullpen arm, right? Glass now hurt every single year. Bubba Chandler, he maybe is electric in the first half. Got to worry about a second half. McClanahan 2 years in a row has missed most of the season, and then Hunter Green, I saw. He literally can't throw a pitch without, he said he feels like someone stabbing him through the elbow and coming out the other side. And that was, I believe, yesterday. So you got to worry about some of these things. I don't like this rotation at all. And then the bullpen for me, like It looked like Jay and a few others finally listened to me for the first year, but last year the top four closers on the board, three of them got hurt and one got suspended for life. And I know the gambling thing is a one-off and shit happens. I mean, you can't predict that, but that's just my point with these relievers. Like you could find these guys that are getting holds and set up men and all this stuff. So it's like you have to. There's no reason for me to get these guys because maybe Mason Miller's great, Devin Williams and Resiel probably get hurt. So I really don't know. I just the bullpen just doesn't do it for me. If every year we don't have the Moes and the Trevor Hoffmans, and I mean back in for the last 2 or 3, 4 years was the Class A's, right? If you don't have like those top four, I mean San Diego flirts with not making the playoffs every year. So how many times is Mason Miller coming in anyway? I don't know. To me, it's like I would rather avoid a 9-point blown save, a negative 9-point blown save off my total score, and also that the top 4 or 5 are never the top 4 or 5, and grab somebody that's going to get me a hold and throw an inning, and it just gets me a solid 4 and throws four times a week they come in, and I just get back on them for 16 a week. To me, I mean that's essentially what most of our catchers do, right? 16 a week or so. So to me, that's more important than you got a negative 9 and then they're hurt or they're gambling, whatever. I don't know. So anyway, so that's kind of where at. I have this is concern. Probably is good in the first half, and then they'll probably shut them down. Pirates super soft. Concern, super concerned, and then I even gave him the. I actually gave him I always give like whoever the top free agent is, if they're projected for 600, I just throw that in there. So, I mean, let's take that away, right? Let's just say, I don't know, he picks up somebody else, right? And minus 300. I mean, to me, then he's worse than Paz's team. So if you take 300 away, I have him at like 9,100 basically. I had Paz at 889, which is essentially 8,900. I think he's below Paz at 8,800 then. And so yeah, I don't love this team. I completely got lost in the draft where I thought he was filling and not drafting. If that makes sense to what I'm trying to say. So that's 11 and or 12 for me, depending on who this SP ends up being. All right, 10. I have Mike both total team and without the pen. So I basically have him in the same spot. Kind of down the Paz scenario, a little bit less. Paz went and hammered it more and got a lot of players to make the run. Mike kind of went in a little bit, and then I don't remember what happened. Maybe guys got hurt or something, but I remember he ended up having to pull back, and I don't. Did he make the playoffs? I don't remember. I think it was Tom, Justin, Josh, Paz, Jay. Maybe he was 6. I think he had to be, right, because he was in the second half. Yeah, I think he might have got in and lost to the quarters. So I mean, maybe he ended up staying healthy, but I know like he got Logan Webb from me and a couple other guys that we were trying to work on some other deals late. So his team might have faltered, but kind of the same situation as Paz, where you give away, and if you don't, it doesn't work out, you kind of get screwed for the following year, but do get the building pieces to keep. So for Mike, I have him 12th infield, fifth rest, total offense 10, starters 8, bullpen 9, total pitching 12th overall, total team 11th overall. Without the pen included, I have him at 10. So Samuel should be good. A catcher's a catcher. If you don't get the top, 2, 3, 4, you're kind of screwed. Michael Busch, I really kind of wanted. I wanted him. We tried to work on a deal a lot of last year, but then Kurtz ended up going off for me, so I just decided to go down the Kurtz route. But the only thing, Cubs players, and I went back and forth with Nico about yesterday about Ian Happ, is like you kind of got to X out like Kansas City and Chicago. I mean, April and the first week or 2 of May is a nightmare, especially these days where somehow, I mean, even in Jersey, I know most of you are in this area, but I mean, we used to be playing baseball. I remember like in the beginning of March, and now I don't even know. We're starting practice and everyone's in 5 layers. So you gotta, especially with the wind there in both Chicago and Kansas City. You kind of got to nix out like their first, 5, 6 weeks of the season. It's impossible to hit there. Their over unders are usually 3.5 for the game, which is usually a team total for a game, not for two teams. So those things concern me with those type of players. Jazz, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a fan. He ended up having a pretty good year last year. He's just, I don't know, not my cup of tea. Paredes, I didn't realize he went to Houston. I would have hopped on him. He's gonna rake there, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's gonna rake there. I kind of wanted him. He sniped me like 1 or 2 picks before. I made a lot of mistakes yesterday. Jeremy Pena, I've never been a fan of him. Fantasy baseball wise, he's solid as a player, I guess, but for fantasy baseball purposes, not my cup of tea. Jordan always hurt. He's got the chronic knee injuries that he has to get the fluid drained down consistently. That's a problem. This is one of the outliers I saw. Like, how is Trent Grisham only projected for 339? He had 575 last year. Even if he it comes down a little, I mean, I know he went off with 34, but I mean, he's projected for 25. They have him at 339. I think that's pretty wild. And talk about like a complete overpay for him. Or I know they did the arbitration thing or whatever it is. You guys know what I'm talking about, the match deal or whatever. And he took it. Like how stupid can that would be crazy. So this is one of the biggest underliers I saw, or under ratings I saw for total points. George Springer, I mean, what is he, 38, 39? I mean, last year seems like he got on Anavar like everybody else. Like Otani, like I don't get this at all either, which I had to bump Mike down for. Okay, so they have Otani projected to score 1,400, only 755 on offense, so they have him scoring 649 in the pitching end. In his longest career pitching, he's never surpassed 167 fantasy pitching points. So there's no shot in the world that he scores 1,400 points this year. No way. Anybody who wants to take that, I'll give you 1,100 points and I'll still take the bet. He gets nowhere near close to that. He's definitely not throwing for 700 on the pitching side. I think I did the math. It comes out to like 668. Not even close. So that's kind of crazy. It's nice that Mike gets the total points. Now you could use him on both sides, so he gets to take advantage of that. But yeah, I mean, you'll probably surpass 755 here. He's not doing 638 or 1,400. No shot. Dansby, it's solid utility guy, but same thing. You got to worry about the beginning. He had a rough year last year too, right? They didn't even do an outlook for him. I think he had a pretty down year last year. 652 is so pretty solid. Yeah, 652 solid. What are they having for this year? 472. You got to add the D points. You figure 572. So they got him about 80 points less than last year. That's a solid utility guy. Trout's done. Jose will be benched for Volpe, which is ridiculous, but this would have been a nice piece if we didn't have Anthony Volpe, or they didn't like Anthony Volpe, who I've said is going to suck for 5-6 years. When I saw him in the minors, Dominguez they sent down, who I also said would suck for 5 years ago. I've read nothing about this guy, so I don't know. I can't talk about him. Carson Kelly, fine. Bader, I didn't even know he's still on the team. And Volpe. So I guess he got Volpe. He'll drop Cavalerio. But yeah, I'm not a fan of this offense, really. I mean, Bush, you got Bush Jazz. This will be more. Paredes will probably be around 600. He's going to pop some. Jordan, no way he scores 614. So, I mean, I guess Paredes and Jordan even themselves out. Trent adds another 200, so bump him there. Springer's probably spot on. Otani, that's got to be bumped down. Yeah, I'd probably bump Mike's team looking at it again offensively, probably like 200 when you even these all out. Like, this is even under, over, under, even, over. So I don't know what I said, 4 overs and 3 unders. So yeah, I'd probably bump this down 200. Yeah, I'll probably read it. I probably would slide both Justin and Paz over this. Let me see what his pitching staff. Logan Webb, solid. Cole Raggins, good for the first 6. He was really, really bad last year. He ended up with a 4.67, turned the second half around, but God, he was awful in the beginning. Yuri just walks way too many people to rely on right now, especially in a fantasy league. What's his walk? What's his walk walk ratio. I mean, this is like the third year in a row I've heard he's the next ace. Um, they have for 49 and 160. That's what. Let's just round this to 50. So he's 3 per 1 almost. I mean, that's pretty bad for fantasy purposes. Every strikeout he's giving up one to a walk. So every 3 Ks he's losing one. So you're essentially getting only 2 Ks each time. Cam, got to worry about the sophomore thing. Cade Horton, sophomore thing. Chris Bruback stinks. And Garrett Cole looks like he's going to be coming back sooner. So this 446 is kind of an underlier. He probably gets to 646, right, if he just throws to himself and then gets an improvement bump from the TJ. So I don't know. Maybe I don't bump Mike down. I don't know. I don't like this rotation at all. Yeah, I mean, I don't like this rotation at all. I'm glad I do these predictions because then I'm going to flip this. I would rather trust that Paz can add offensive players than Justin being able to add starters and Mike being able to add starters. So I'm going to bump Justin down 1, Mike down 1, Paz would go up 2. Okay. Next. This is an interesting one. So I'm going to announce him here. Well, actually, you know what? No, I won't. I'll just do and I'll explain it later. So I have someone else in this slot, but I found something. And when I found it, I ended up bumping them up because there's a reason. So I'm actually just going to leave them in the bumped up spot, and I'm just going to go up. And then if I want to adjust it later after looking a second time, I'll adjust it later. I'm going to go with Chris. Happy to have Chris here. We got the BS at Tom's daughter's birthday party. First time we ever met in person, even though he's been in the league for a few years on the hockey end. So cool to BS with him, man. He asked a lot of questions. I appreciate it. It was super active. He had a lot going on Saturday, right? Saturday and Sunday, and helped us out to keep the slow roll going. So thank you, man. Thanks for playing in the hockey. I was talking to Vin earlier. We were thinking that like hockey would pass by one season for us I think this is our 4th year just to pass a winter by. And everyone stuck around, and we're going to go on year 5 next year. So it's been a lot of fun. It keeps the winners strong. And yeah. So Chris had really no picks, but liked the keepers more from Miss D's team, and then had first selection. And then Vinny took the team that had a bunch of picks and less keepers to go with. So Chris ended up keeping J-Ram. I mean, kind of a no-brainer, right? And Christian Sanchez. So he's going to start there, build around those two. Always tough to come in and start with somebody else's team. So I have Chris, 4th infield. I like this infield. But then, this is kind of where, like, I usually talk to my dad about this, is like get more of a balance. Like, so this is kind of like more of a dad team for me. My dad, I feel like he always really hammers one side and then it's like super high, but then he lets the other side go, and then that one's super low, and then you end up, just midlining it. Instead of like getting that balance so that you have the consistency throughout your lineup and or throughout your starters, etc. That's my concern about my team this year, is too much punch and not enough consistency. So that's kind of where Chris is with me. This reminds me of a dad team. So 4th infield, but then his rest is all the way down at 11. Total offense ends up being 8. So like having that huge punch on one side and then the lack on the bottom side ends up actually putting him under the 50 percentile for the league, for the overall. Starters, I like these starters. I have him at 4. His bullpen's at 5. He didn't listen to me on that. I told him not to draft bullpen. So I hope he didn't take any pen guys over some of the other dudes. I know he had less pit, or he got to finish earlier, so maybe that's why he got more quality. And then overall, I have him at 4 for the pitching wise. So I have him at 7 with pen included, and then I have him at 8 without the bullpen. And then due to this move that we'll discuss later when I get to that team, I have him at 9. So we'll talk about that later. So looks like I could tell without him even telling me. If he didn't tell me he was a Mets fan, I would have figured that out. A bunch of Mets guys here in some capacity. Alonso, former Mets, Semien, Second base for the Mets, Bo Bichette. Shortstop for the Mets. There was a couple here that I saw, and I was like, oh, he was on the Mets, or Seth Lugo, Chris Bassett, David Peterson. So clearly, we got a Mets fan here, which he ends up having to tell me anyway. He wanted to know if he took Alonso too early. I don't think so. I mean, with those fences coming in and City Field, I believe last year they were 19 in park factors, and they're usually in that bottom 20 to like 26 ish there. He's in a way better place to hit, and the fence moving in and being chopped literally directly in half for height. Although he does kind of hit the moonshot, so I guess defense sizing in terms of length wouldn't really matter for Pete, but neither here nor there. I mean, by the time we got to that round, it was kind of slim picks. Shea's solid, 458. I didn't realize he was that high, so good pick. Alonso should have a monster year. I think 591 is way too low, especially with D points. Another 100, you're at 691. Extra home runs, I don't know, it's called 10. Another 30 on top of that. This is probably short by 180. Yeah, right? 180, let's say 100 in D points, and 10 more home runs maybe. Yeah, 130. So he probably ends up finishing around the 720, 740 mark. I mean, that's usually where those elite guys are at, right? The 700 to 850 is where those top end 5 or 6 offensive Aaron Judges and Acuna types, Bobby Witts. J Ram stud. So this is nice punch here. Alonso, J Ram, Semyon. I don't know. Like he was, clearly I'm guessing was on some shit, extra stuff in Texas for the contract year. Was pretty poor last year, like really poor last year. Came on a little bit in that last month. I don't know. New field, new setting. Hopefully, I don't know, gets back to his side. 381, that's more like a waiver wire guy you pick up that doesn't start playing until June. So I would say he's higher than this. Bo Bichette, I guess he said he's going to third, so that would give him a primary DH. He'll have to kind of figure that out because 3 of his better players occupy the same 3 spots. So Pete's kind of got to stick here or would have to go to utility. Yandy's got to stick in the DH or 1, which covered by Pete. And then J Ram is DH or 3 base. So it's not even like he could get himself an elite third baseman, plug him here, drop J Ram, because then Yandy would take over Pete. So he's got a little clog in this area. But, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of players. I would say by, I don't know, not July. That seems like too long. I would say by, like, mid-May, like, you'll see, like, 10 or 15 names start popping up on the DH list. And then probably by, like, end of July, all of a sudden there's, like, a flurry where, like, guys, are getting days off but are still hitting. And then all of a sudden they become DH eligible. So that is a pretty long time to be able to figure this out. But I don't know, just something to keep an eye on is that he's kind of clogged with his, 3 best guys here, 552, 745, 591, right? That's his 3 best points wise. Yeah. So just something to keep an eye on. Maybe he could figure something out there, flip-flop somebody, or I don't know, maybe he's content with this. There's a lot of weird days off and schedule changes, so he could probably work his way around it. So Bo will keep the shortstop eligibility, which is solid. I think the only thing he'll lose there is that there's more putouts in terms of for our D points, shortstop, second base there in the twist, instead of the third base area on double plays turned throughout a year from start to finish. So he'll lose out a little bit on the D points there, but still should be okay. I don't know if I would say better lineup. Definitely not this year after the Toronto, but maybe better lineup than last year's Toronto lineup. Yeah, probably. Although I don't know if I trust Lindor this year, but we'll get to that. Outfield, Pages, again, I don't know what they're doing here. He actually may benefit from them doing the 120 caps and get more PT. Buxton's hurt every single year, at least 2 times, 3 times. Like, no thanks, not for me in fantasy. Rhino, actually, I was thinking about, I was looking at him for a while. I think he has a sneaky good, better year. He was really solid last year and in the stadium. 1763. and he had a solid year last year. He didn't start every day too, but now PNC is not a great park to hit in. I still think he goes over this 441. Pirates are not, I mean, I'm not going to say they're like going to the World Series, but they're not terrible this year. I would say they should contend. They should be better. They just want to improve because the guy doesn't spend any money except on the ski resort. Yandy, solid. I always like having him on the team. He's just so consistent, man. And Adamas, utility. I mean, he's got a bunch of guys that he could plug and play here. Teoscar, again, also may be a guy that ends up benefiting, although I think they consider him one of the key cogs. He doesn't usually sit out in the playoff game, so he might be one that gets hurt from the 120, but then he benefits from having Pages and Teoscar because he picks up the extra here or the sitting. So this actually might be a nice little thing I didn't really think about till I just saw it now. I kind of like this. It's kind of like a accidental fill-in for when they do their 120 nonsense. JT, did he just not have is he just getting old? He's still got a $45 million deal. Yeah. I don't know. This is a good backup to have. I mean, JT is a backup, solid. Joey Adele, good. Vargas, fine. Third base, first base. I like what he did here too with the multiple, right? Like, there's nobody besides Teoscar, which I'm sure will be this part of the flip. Like, every one of these guys, 3 positions, 2 positions, 2 positions, 3 positions, 2 positions, 2 positions. It's very, very helpful later on in the year. So, good work by him. Getting a lot of I guess you would just call them utility men overall. And then the staff. A little concerns here, and we'll talk about it too. Like, Sanchez is good. Like, Gossman, I don't know. Like, to me, when I'm like, okay, Kevin Gossman, I'm not thinking he's the 14th best pitcher available, and I think that a lot of people agreed and let him sit there. That concerns me. Castillo, I talked to Paz and Nico about this. This didn't really make sense. Castillo's ranked the 21st person available, and he averaged 19-1 last year. His numbers are projected to be essentially exactly the same, right? He has a couple more Ks, 16 more Ks total, 3 more walks, so that pulls 3 of the Ks down. He has a higher ERA, same whip. So if he averaged 19-1 last year, he was a 21st best pitcher. ESPN is essentially telling you that only 20 pitchers are going to throw for over a 20 average. It doesn't make sense. Last year, 72 pitchers in our league threw over 20 average. So I didn't understand that. That tells me they either overrated him or they've underrated 40-ish pitchers, right? It has to be one or the other. It can't be both. Zach Little, not for me. Seth Lugo, I think he was a kind of flash in the pan for one. Bassett's a nice innings eater. Like, I like this here. I mean, Baltimore's going to be tough, but he eats innings. He don't strike out anybody, so this is like a Noah Cameron type of thing, although we did kind of put that myth to bed a little bit when we were looking at his profile, but he just doesn't K anyone. So, I mean, 166, and he threw 170. Cameron only threw like 128 or 138, I think it said, and he had only 22 less strikeouts. So you really got to rely on Bassett, like 3-3. He had a couple here, 10s against Pittsburgh. No surprise there. Minnesota, Cincy, 4-2, 4. You got a 1 here, 1 strikeout over 6. But he eats the innings, man. 6, 6-1, 7 1/3, 6, 5, 5 1/4, 5 1/4, 6, 5, 5. So you just gotta hope he doesn't get in trouble because he doesn't K. And then Peterson supposed to be the 4. He was good in the first half last year, but I mean, it clearly came down. I think he was an all-star, right, for a while. Yeah. So yeah, not bad. I don't mind this team. Little balance. Yeah, not bad. All right. Next. All right. Next, I'll keep Chris there. I don't know. I do like Paz's staff a little bit more than that. But I'll keep Chris there for now. I think he has some nice punch in the infield. All right. Next, I got Mom. 6th infield, 7 rest, 7 total offense, 5th starting pitchers, last in bullpen, which doesn't matter to me. And total pitching is 6. Total team, I have 8 when it includes the bullpen. and then 7 without the pen, and then because the adjustment I made 12, 10, 9, 8, 7. She ends up at 7 because I made this late adjustment. So let's go to nice balance here. Last year, she asked me where she could improve. I told her she had to get some more pitching. So um, started with BB Boyd, which I liked because they're both super late. I think Tanner's going to have a big year. So I like that there. Um, and then there was a couple, like I saw something on Emmett we'll touch on later that boosts this up and stuff. So I made an adjustment to her. So Adley, one of the best in the business, fences in. This should be, he might end up as the number one catcher this year due to those dimension changes. Torque solid, another one. Detroit, Kansas City, Chicago. Got to worry about the first month. Glaber, he had a decent year last year. I know for a little bit I was looking at for Tom. 665, pretty good year. So he's projected somewhere around there. They just do that weird stuff, man. They pull guys in like the fourth inning and you have them starting and then you miss out on 2 or 3 at bats and stuff. Pain in the ass. Machado, just keep kicking along. He's got Devers for the full year this year. So that should be helpful. Turner, I mean, not bad at all. So I like this right here. This is a very, very nice. A lot of balance for Mom this year. This is kind of like a Sun team. This is like how I kind of go. I try to keep a balance here. Nobody crazy on any side, but consistency. I like this offense, consistent. Quan, he's huge in our league. 5 tool players are very big in our league. It's more about the overall baseball product than it is just a power hitter. Cruz, I don't know what this guy's deal is, man. Like everyone, thought he'd be awesome. He's just struggling. I mean, 200 is just terrible. God, 200, 298, 378. Yeah, I think I see Paz end up dropping him last year, right? I mean, yeah, that's pretty unwinnable right there. So this might be a weak spot for Mom that she'll have to kind of monitor. And look, outfield day will come, so this is a spot that she could easily fill in someone later on line. And then Roker, I mean, for him, Soderstrom and Kurtz to be anywhere under 600 is crazy. I saw today Vinny and I were talking. He's plus 100 to hit 35 home runs. And what do they have him here? 30. I mean, it's like they play in that bandbox. I mean, there came a point last year where I owned all 3 of them, and I was trying to get Jacob Wilson from Nico, and that you basically start them at home and they score 10 runs a game, and then you just sit them on the bench and play other guys. I mean, they at home they just rake, and they're going to be there for another 2 years, I believe. Pretty sure they said it was a 4-year project, so 1 down and potentially 2, if not 3 to go. So this will be way over 576. I had him, like I said, I had him last year. Yelich, I mean, it's just health for him now. When he's healthy, man, he raked for Tom. He raked for me 2 years prior, but then he always just has this crazy injury, and then it ends up being like, oh, you just hurt, his pinky finger, or the tip of his finger, and now he's out for like 3-4 months. So, got to monitor that. J.P. Crawford, this is a solid utility. I think Pazretti's coming back too, right? Quarters on his shoulder. Yikes. So maybe he comes back in DHs. I mean, definitely loses out on D points, but Crawford had a solid year last year too, right? Yes, 651, 265, 352. Yeah, so nice utility spot. And then again, we got some 4-position eligibility, backup shortstop, backup third baseman, 4-position eligibility with second and third and left and right. Dalton Varsho, center field. Spencer Steele first. Yeah, I like it. Mason Wynn, he was really bad last year. Maybe he improves with the team improving as a whole. Not bad. Then I kind of sneaky like this staff. Like BB, it's going to be good. Sometimes you got to work with the strikeouts. Famber should rake in Detroit if he gets along with everybody. Dylan Cease, I mean, 674 is probably spot on for him. For every 4-5-5 he throws, he also Ks like 8 dudes a game. So for his blowups, yeah. So for his blowups, you end up getting 8 Ks. Looks like they didn't let him go long last year though. Yeah, 9, 9, 10, 8, 7, bunch of 7s here. So he just has to kind of hang around and not get blown up, because sometimes he does. There's a lot of fours and fives in here, but I don't know, 674 kind of seems high. Like this is what I mean with the pitching. So yeah, 605. I don't think, especially better Division Two in Toronto too. Everyone is freaking loaded there. I'm gonna guess he probably goes to the 605. So this is a little bit high. Bradish, again though, this Baltimore scares me. But see, so for the difference in if it's 50 and 50 here, 100, Emmett Sheehan got announced the third spot today. But again, are we doing this 7-man rotation that they did for 3 months last year, where everyone just throws one time a week and then sometimes less, like crazy talk? But you probably bump this to 588. So this ends up evening out, if minus 50, minus 50, plus 100. Nola, no thanks. But I mean, it's the seventh. You're going to probably, most of us use our seventh and sixth guy as our swing man anyway. So this could probably be a swing man in a month. Yeah, I like this. I like the balance here. I'm a big balance guy. I like the balance. Okay. All right. So next, next is going to be Jay. I originally have Jay at 5, but when you take out his pen, because he finally listened to me, I had him up to 3. When I got to the bottom of the roster, I found something, and I had to look it up, because Nico and I had talked about it during essentially the entire draft, and we were playing ball with my son yesterday, and we were talking about it during the slow roll. And when we got back, we confirmed it, and then I went to the bottom and confirmed it again today. So I ended up bumping Jay down to this. What are we at? 7 now? 7 spot? 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. So due to this, I had to bump him 7, because I feel like here, I feel like kind of Justin. I usually do the tiers, but I feel like Justin, Mike, Paz are kind of in one tier. So I would have them as like one tier. I think Chris, my mom, Jay, and the 2 teams and the 1 team after that. So the next 2 teams with my mom and Chris are in their separate tier. So I'm going to call this. So I have tier 3, Justin, Mike, Paz. Tier 2, Chris, Mom, and Jay. And 1 more. Yeah. And 1 more. And 2 more. I have a tier 1 of 4 teams. A tier 2 of 5 teams or so. And a tier 3. Yeah, I'll go over it. 3, 3, 3. 2, 2. 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. So I have 4 teams in tier 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 teams in tier 2 and 3 in tier 3. I think there's a pretty substantial gap from Paz, Mike, and Justin to Chris, and then a decent gap from Chris, Mom, Jay, the next team, and then the final 4. So this is going to be Jay, and I'll kind of explain why. So Jay, 8th infield, 9th rest, and has the 9th offense. I'm unsure kind of what happened there. Number 1 starters, but there's an asterisk to that. 11th bullpen, 2nd total pitching, and then total team, like I said, originally I had him at 5. Without the pen, I move him up to 3. And then I found this asterisk, which moves him down to 7. So Yanner, solid, probably in the top 2 or 3. Freddie Freeman already banked, they said 120-ish, so 574 is probably spot on. That's concerning to me. No way he's hitting that 971 again. And then I'm guessing the 574 kind of projects like half the stats, right? This doesn't make any sense. So he has 971 here. These stats essentially match, and he has 574. Anyway, so he probably gets a 674 with the 100 D points, but with a 120 cap, it's going to be low. Bryson Stott, it's a year and a half now in a row, super underwhelming. Ryan McMahon, I don't even know how long he's going to play for. I have a feeling that if he doesn't get off to a super hot start, Caballero will go to third and be starting there full time, and then Volpe will go to shortstop. They're obsessed with him. They're never going to move Volpe, and they want Caballero in the lineup. And if McMahon doesn't get going early with the bat, and well, I think he was 120 last year, he ends up being the soft side. Wilson, Van Box, nice. Jackson, great. Soto, awesome. Raffaelli, he's not my cup of tea, but there could be worse. And then there's just kind of really no DH or utility here, like Andrew Vaughn, no thank you. Stanton, I think what they say once every 3 days he's going to sit with the things. I don't know much about this guy. I was thinking about drafting him. So that's an option too. Plug him at third. Actually, I did do Jay's lineup with him there. I moved him. I mean, I don't know. That lineup's loaded, but these the Japanese and Koreans just don't translate over. So that's concerning. Bo Naylor, no thanks. Spencer Horowitz, no thanks. Dylan, I like him, but now he's in a split share because of how much he struggled down last year. I ended up dropping him. I held him for the whole first half of the season. He was awesome, and then he did nothing, which is funny because no one does anything in Detroit for the first month, and then they rake after, and then he's the complete opposite. Don't know who this is. Joey Ortiz. So, I mean, the offense leaves a lot to be desired. There's really, I mean, Soto and Jackson, and then Jacob Wilson in the bandbox. But like outside of that, it's really just three guys here on this whole kind of. And then I guess having Yanner as your catcher at 477, but again, your max is 477 still for them. Send the picture. So Crochet, awesome. Wu, awesome. Ray, he just walks way too many guys now. And then, I mean, this is kind of where this is like a monster concern. Like, I could give Jay all the points in the world added as a free agent, but like Flaherty, everyone left him there. He's kind of waxed. He's just done. Strider was so bad with the UCL, already injured again. Who knows what's going to come of it? Hasn't looked good in the spring again. Rodon, the Yankees milk this stuff, so they'll be like, "Oh yeah, he'll be back the end of April," and then all of a sudden it's like June, and they're like, "Oh, actually, you know what? It was fully torn. He got surgery 3 months ago," so that's a concern. And then this is where kind of the big asterisk in. So I gave Jay the points for all these guys as what they were because they were essentially equal, but like. You have to take out this 40, right? Like at least 40 off of Spencer. And I think this is way high as it is. And then Blake Snell in our league has never thrown for more than 280 points. He's projected for 642. There's no way I could give Blake Snell 642 projection. He's already out. Dodgers already said they're going to milk all their pitchers. He's not expected back till May 1st. He's going to throw for 642 from May 1st till the end of the year. No shot. Never passed whatever I said the number was, 467 or whatever. And he threw for 251 last year and was kind of on the same trajectory. So this, I have to eliminate at least hit 300 points off of this. And then with these injuries here and this concern here, that to me was a major asterisk for Jay because I had him all the way up a third. But this is a huge issue. Like essentially, if Ray just starts walking dudes, he basically has Garrett Crochet and Brian Wu and nobody else. I mean, honestly, like these are all free agents, and all these slots are going to be, filled. I mean, I had Ray last year. It's 1 start 30, 1 start 5, 9, 6, 21, 16, 10, 10. Then he gets a 32 spot, 12, 225s, a 13 and a 5. I mean, that's him. He walks a ton of dudes. So for every 5 Ks, he walks 5 and then he evens himself out. I don't know. This staff is really concerning. It's Crochet and Wu and just nothing. And I can't give Blake Snell 642 projection. I just can't. I can't do it, especially given his history and given it's already started right before the season even started. So that's kind of the asterisk I was talking about, and had me bump Jay down from 3 to 7. And then the offense concerns me too because if he had a little bit more punch here, it's like all right, we'll try and figure out 1 or 2 of these slots. Even if Spencer didn't get hurt, okay, we'll try and figure these out. Band-aid them, but you got to have 5, and we got kind of like 2 or 3. Like I said, Flaherty was there. I mean, this was a super, super late pick, right? No, you drafted him 12th. be right. Is that right? All right. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, so it's kind of my thoughts on Jay. Okay. After that, we have my dad at 6. All right. So I think a little bit of a missed opportunity from my dad here. And this is kind of what I touched on with Chris's team, where I just don't. My dad always does too much punch on one side, not enough balance, right? Like he has the number one infield by far, not even close. There's nobody close to his infield. I have him by 130 over the next team, which is, in my opinion, a lot of points, right? 130s, the difference between a mid-tier player and a high-tier player. But then, like, he does, essentially did nothing with the outfield. Tucker's a little bit of a concern for me. And then he started off with the elite pitchers. We got him set up to finally have the pitching he needs, and then kind of did nothing with them the rest of the way, and reached for a lot. So just a wish again that he spread this out more. Like, you got to have consistency throughout, so that when the offense is down a little bit, you got the outfield, or the offense is down a little bit, or infield's down a little bit, you got a 3 or 4 pitchers to go, something like that. So. Again, 1 infield, 10 rest, total offense, 3 starters, 10 bullpen, doesn't matter, but 7, and total pitching, 11. Total team with bullpen included 6, total team without pen, 6, and then I have him at 7 after I did my bumping. So Cal Raleigh's solid. Do I think he's going to hit 40 again? No shot. So last year he had 1,000. Probably does like 750-ish, 800. Matt Olsen, you would think, gets like rebounds. Like I said earlier we were talking about Albies. Whole team was done literally the first month of the season. Everyone was hurt. So you would think they have more motivation, ambition, whatever now to move forward. Marte, always solid to have. Bregman, a little bit concerning. He leaves the bandbox where he was raking. I don't know why he did that. I guess for the money, maybe. I don't know. And then goes to somewhere where, I guess he's always been a kind of a gap hitter, doubles hitters, which will play in Wrigley with the wind and crap. But does those doubles turn into singles now? He's not able to use the left field fence to ricochet and be standing on second before the ball even hits the grass. And then this is always my big stat, which I had to pull down Dad's offense a little bit, is that I didn't look it up and I didn't listen to the entire thing, but the hamate bone wrist injury forearm thing, whatever the stat is, it's on the last 10 predictions you can look at. Sorry, I need to drink a water. That's my voice. Hamate bone wrist forearm. I think the production is auto declined by like 42% in a hitter for the rest of the season. So, I always stay away from him. I stayed away from Corbin Carroll. This is whatever the stat is. Listen to my past videos. It's a drastic drop off for any player that has this injury until they actually get it taken care of. He decided not to get it taken care of. He decided to kind of monitor it, get injections, cortisone, peptides. So for me, I'm gonna stay away here. So they had him at 593, which in my opinion is kind of low. He had 870 in 2025, but I don't know. He's a better player than this, and I don't know. So maybe he does do 593, and that kind of would hurt, honestly. Then there's just really nothing in the outfield. Like Langford, this is the third, fourth year in a row we heard he changed his stance, and he's killing it in spring. And it's like, yeah, okay. Some of those guys are going to be accountants, garbage men, whatever, in a couple of weeks. And that's no offense to them. I'm just saying, I'm so tired of hearing about Wyatt Langford's adjustments that he made in spring, and then we see nothing from it. TJ Friedel, we've had them all. Guys always hurt. And then Tucker, are they going to do this 120 with him too? Like you would think. I don't think they care about how much they're paying people, clearly, right? They buy everybody. So he will probably end up being, sat a lot of time too. And that just kills a 638 player and a first round draft pick. Like, to me, if I was Dad and he's kind of struggled on the pitching end the last several years, and I went in with 3 pitchers and was ready to rock, he hits a hammer with one of those top three pitchers, right? And now all of a sudden, now we're cooking with gas. Then you have Logan Gilbert, Sonny Gray, Waka, Jose Serrano, Logan Gilbert, and Evaldi when he's healthy, and Woodruff. I saw he got pushed back a little bit, but let's just say he gets Evaldi, Serrano, Waka, Gray, Logan Gilbert. That five looks a lot different than me spread out through the entire roster than Kyle Tucker. I just there's a lot of outfield you can always grab them, especially when they're going to limit their offense and their pitching staff. Ozuna somehow always ends up being, I feel like, a top 10 DH, so fine. And then we just got to get some type of utility player here, which isn't the end of the world. Everybody finds a bunch offensively, but you really want someone better here than a 420 spot. 420, 380, there's just really nothing here. A bunch of nice utilities pieces. Willie Abreu is really a handiness starter. Dylan Cruz is a handiness starter. Alvarez backup, new bar, good utility, but I think he's a handiness guy too. Larnach is definitely, so he's got a lot of handiness guys here. So he ends up, these guys that may end up being not even be able to be backups because they're only going to face certain handiness pitchers. So that I didn't notice till kind of now. But so that might be a little bit concerned. But again, something you could work through. Waiver wire offense is always in plenty. And then, again, this is it's a solid guys. Waka is a solid 2, and Soriano should get better. It just, stinks for him with the win. So that's a solid 3. And then Gray, is a solid 4. But, now these guys are 1, 2, 3s instead of 2, 3, 4s or, 3, 4, 5s. And then Gray, you got to worry about. He stunk in the Bronx because it was too big for him. He went to 2 small places and excelled. Now he's going to Boston. The division got better throughout. Baltimore got smaller. Toronto's lineup got better. Yankees brought back the same thing, and they had the number 1 and 2 offense last year throughout the whole year. So I don't know. And it's probably too big of lights. So this might be a little bit concerned. Maybe he pulls down to the 614. And then you kind of just have a bunch of 614 guys. Woodruff got pushed back today. He's not going to do his first rehab assignment until the 31st, which is a week after opening day. Evaldi, elite when he starts, but he's definitely going to miss time. Always does. Shota, he'll be great for the first half. Probably will digress in the second half when it gets warm. And then again, Mize is kind of a swing guy. Bullpen doesn't really matter. So kind of got that at 6 there. I would still have him in that second tier. Okay. And then the last one I have in my second tier is going to be Tom. So again, like I was saying earlier, I kind of know Tom by now. It's like he's the balance guy, man. Hockey, football, baseball, balance. Got a little weak on the starters this year. There is a caveat to that. I will talk about that. I adjusted him and kind of moved him up to this slot above Jay and above my dad for an asterisk that I found. But 10 infield, 1 rest, total offense 6. Starters 11 with a caveat and an asterisk. 4 bullpen. He didn't listen to me this year. He went bullpen heavy. 8 total pitching. And then I had him at total team 9. Without the bullpen, I still have him at 9. When I found this asterisk, I moved him up to 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. I do think he's a cut above the next, or a cut below the next 4. I think the next 4 are kind of a little bit of a cut above everybody else, and I'll call them in the money shotters. I would say these, Dad has a shot to get up there. Jay's staff really concerns me. Tom probably has a shot to get up there. My mom with the staff probably has a shot to get up there. I don't think Chris Paz, Mike, or Justin could finish in the money this year. And again, for those who haven't been here before, I'm a big pitching guy. I feel like you got to have the 5, which I don't know how that'll translate to the total points, but that's my thing. Okay, so Tom's talented. Okay, so Marino, I was sitting between him. Catchers, again, if you don't get the top 1, 2, 3, or 4, you just got to go. Harper, 534 seems crazy low. What did he have last year? Yeah, 863, and he was out for a month with an injury. So this is a super underlay. This is one of the asterisks I found. It was underrated, I think, for Tom. Luis Garcia, this is a little spot that Tom will have to figure out. Second base is kind of what pulled him down to 10th, I think. Austin Riley, I just don't know what to make of Austin, man. Like, I've had him so many times. I always end up trading him. I like guys every day. Like, I'm kind of like this with the hockey too, and I don't really know shit about hockey. I rely on Vin, or honestly, I kind of sort by league average and see what guys have done in the last 15, 30 days or something, and try to find some trends. But like, Riley is somebody that, in my opinion, you almost have to do like fantasy football, or like you. I like to set my lineup and kind of forget it. And then if I get a notification that one of my guys isn't playing, I go sub them out, right? You have to like watch Riley every day, because he will go cold for 3 weeks at a time. And then all of a sudden he'll have like a game with 3 home runs, and then he'll hit 10 home runs in the week. And you're like, oh my God, I didn't have him in. I just hate guys like that. And just for me, in my type of ownership, he does that all the time. And then you never end up starting him when he goes off. And he's just a pain in the ass to deal with. Does he get an uptick from the Braves thing? Yeah, but I had him the 2 years prior when the Braves were competing, and he did the same shit. He's just very, very, very hot and cold, and just hate the everyday stuff. It's annoying to monitor somebody every single day. Like, you should be able in our lives to set and forget and still enjoy playing. Ellie, just one of the 5-tool players. Everyone just waiting him to kind of put together a Bobby Witt-esque, Stephen Kwan-esque season. He has the tools, and he has the 5 tools, I should say, that are rare. Everyone's just kind of waiting for all the 5 to come together. Like, he'll hit a bunch of home runs for a week, and then he won't hit a bunch of home runs for 2 months. But then those 2 months he's stealing 20 bases or whatever. And then for a month he'll hit a bunch of doubles, and then he'll also have 5 triples, but they're all done separately, right? It's like 1 month it's a triple month, 1 month a home run month, 1 month a steal month, 1 month a fast. He has the number 1 arm speed in baseball, so a lot of separated months, and so everyone's just kind of waiting to pull together. And if Tom got him at this time where it's now, awesome. Nimmo, nice piece. I think he's going to be good in Texas. A little bit of shortened field. They do mess around with the humidity stuff I touched on earlier on somebody. But that should be solid, I think. Jacob Marsh was a great pick. Judge, obviously one of the purest hitters, fantasy-wise, does kind of everything for the fantasy. Altuve is a nice moving piece, and then having someone DH eligible already that also is going to get D points. And then a Rosarina, not my cup of tea. And like I kind of mentioned with Julio Rodriguez, is where Cal Raleigh's not having that historic year again. So his stats should have been higher last year. He had a tough year. And then so should have Julio's. So now when Cal comes back to life, are they going to hit the median? Are they going to try to pick up the slack? And then some nice bench pieces here. Like Story was pretty good when he came back from injury last year. Unfortunately, had another one. Barger has been solid. That lineup got so much better. Josh Bell's a nice plug-and-play against handiness. Carter's a very good center field backup. Ruiz, if he gets over, he had those lingering concussion symptoms. Very nice backup also. I mean, he could even interchange these based on who's hotter in the week. More of a contact hitter here, more of a power hitter here. Maybe if a guy who gives up a lot of home runs, you start Moreno. A guy, if it's a guy that doesn't give up much home runs at all, you start Ruiz and hope for the contact. Xander, everyone, he's digressed every single year. He's aged very, very quickly. Usually it's that 31 to 33, 34 mark for offense. He's hit that 30, and he's just gone downhill after leaving the Sox. And then Benintendi, I'm guessing that's an ex-Yankees pick. So then the staff, Sale, awesome. Yama, awesome. I love the Rasmussen pick. I was praying he fell to me. He didn't. This is one of the guys Tom sniped me on. Trevor Rogers, a little bit concerned in Baltimore, but this is really probably 6. Jack Leiter, he sniped me from him too. I'm really high on Leiter this year. And then Yoshi is an innings eater, and this is a great 6. The reason I put in the asterisk is Ryan Weathers here, they gave him a stat as if he wasn't going to come over and start. The rumor is now that Ryan Weathers is going to stay in the rotation for the year, and Heel, who I have, is actually going to be the one that's going to be kicked out when everyone comes back from injury. So this really should be probably like 658-ish if he's going to be a full rotation guy. He really lacked the wins in Miami this entire time. They have him going 6-5, which is clearly not going to happen in New York, right? So these projections were clearly done before it looked like he was going to kind of be a bullpen swingman, and or he was going to just fill the slot until Cole. Now it looks like Healsley going to be the odd man out and Weathers. So to me, I have to bump Tom 300 now, just like I decreased 300 from Jay. That bumps Tom up a lot for me. So that change, Tom was so close to that fringe there, that one took him right beneath these still four. With that being said, I do think, like I said, Tom, Dad, Jay, Mom, Chris are still in that 2 tier. Paz, Mike, Justin in that 3 tier. But that's kind of was my asterisk for Tom's team. The Harper and that downgrade there for Weathers, which certainly changed. All right. So on to tier 1 and my 4th team currently. I have Josh. This is the most, at least in like I can recollect, and I know I go on for these for a while, and I've been on 125. This is like the team to me that I've ever been most confused about in my entire life of putting in a projection. I originally had Josh at number 1. And then I like went through the whole team again, and we'll go through it now, and I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. If we got to the end of the season, and just how I know like how Josh is as an owner, he's one of the top fantasy baseball owners in our league, and he's always had success. He's always been in the playoffs. I don't know if he's ever even missed the playoffs in our playoff era. So I'm not going to be like if he finished last, but let's just say it was a random name assigned to it. If you told me that this team won the league and had the most points scored this year, I'd be like, okay. If you told me this team finished dead last this year, I'd be like, okay. That's how confused I am about this. And I'll kind of show my gripe. Going back to what I talked about with the Luis Castillo situation, where they had him at 21 and he was projected for 684 when he averaged 19.2 last year. That makes no sense, right? Everybody saw that, I think, in my opinion. Everyone saw that and also like looked with their own eyes and knowledge about baseball and was like, these pitchers that are remaining stink. We usually do not have a pitcher to select. No joke. We are 60 to 75 pitchers deep by round 5. Because pitching is so important in our league, and it goes and it is gone. We had the 9th pitcher available in entire fantasy baseball rankings open until the 7th round this year in our draft. So I think everyone was seeing the same thing, right? Usually like a flurry happens, just like in fantasy football. Like, all right, everyone's drafting receivers. Like we got our receiver. Everyone just started the quarterback and the floodgates open, right? The same, I thought it was that for a little bit. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, when you're going through these guys' profiles, and Nico went through them too, it was like none of these guys are worth drafting, right? It was like not one of them was worth drafting at all. Okay? So what looks like great projectionally for Josh, he ends up getting the projected points for a bunch of pitchers that nobody wanted. And nobody wanted for a rightful reason. So the numbers skew him analytically all the way up there. And then when you like look more in depth and pull down the detail, it's like now he goes back to the other end. So I don't know what is going to happen. Maybe he's right. And he was like, I waited and no one else went and I got them all and he scooped them up. And maybe they all have these great seasons, right? That they were projected to have. If he's wrong, we all did the right thing, and now we have a step ahead of him, and he's going to finish far down. So super weird. So I have him at the 2 infield, only behind my dad. I mean, Dad, Josh, and Vinny, their 3 infields are well above everybody else. I have like those 3. I mean, my dad's separated by 100. Vinny's only 20 behind Josh, and then it's kind of like everyone's jumbled up for like 5 or 6 spots, and then there's 3. So 2 infield, and then also 2 rest. And I think he has the number 1 offense in the league. Also close to Vinny, I've been within 40, 45 points of Josh offensively, and then massive drop off. I think it's 100 to my dad, and then another 100 to Nico. So Josh and Vinny are kind of in the realm of their own for total offense. But then the starters, I have his starters ranked dead last. And then again, what people, the bullpen thing is my other part. Like his pitching stats overall get boosted all the way to the top from this bullpen. Again, last year, the top 5 relievers in our league, one got suspended for gambling and all the other 4 got hurt. Halfway through the year, none of these closers are actually the closers anymore. So you really, there's really like 12 to pick in that realm. And most of those guys aren't that good anyway. So they end up blowing saves and you end up getting negative. So I'm never going to boost somebody up for having this elite bullpen. It don't make any sense. And then, so that puts his total pitching at 7, has his total team at 2. Without the pen, his team moves down to 5. And then with the kind of adjustments I made, I have him at 4. But again, he could finish first. He could finish last. It really comes down to, is he right and 11 of us are wrong, or 11 of us right and he's wrong? Honestly, that's really what his team comes down to. So Drake Baldwin, again, another guy within the 452. Vlad, huge. He's going to rake this year. Crazy lineup. Nico, great. Miguel Garcia, great. Mookie Betts, great. But again, going to be limited here. A little bit concerns here. So again, this is kind of why I also went down with Duran was left there for a lot longer than expected, because there's talk that he's not going to face lefties anymore. He's struggled against lefties. Corey even said it in a live interview I watched that he might start benching him versus lefties. So that boosts him down, right? So now you have a downgraded Duran. Corbin Carroll has got the hand injury that I talked about. Still hasn't been able to play the field. They think he's going to start the first month at DH. That takes away D points, and he's got a year of hand injury he's got to struggle with. Jackson Merrill hasn't really lived up to anything he's done yet. Really up and down season again last year. So while this outfield is ranked number 2, or the rest is ranked number 2 with Augustin too, and then I'll touch on Brian Reynolds. He's digressed 3 straight years. So Brian Reynolds left forever. He went 9 rounds after his ADP. Are we right, or is Josh right? Corbin Carroll, hand injury. Are the stats right, or is Josh right? Jackson Merrill, downgraded. Is the stats right, Josh right? Is Cora going to play him versus lefties? So Mookie Betts, people worried about his games being maxed and him being down 3 years in a row, regression. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in his offense that is projected for the number 1 offense that all have serious question marks. This is also usually odd because I usually start with a lot of comments on the bottom, and as I get higher and higher, you're basically just nitpicking. This is the team that I have ranked 4th, and I'm nitpicking because I have a lot of concerns here. So this is concerning. That's 5. That gave me the initial dump down. This gives me such a kind of thing that I actually might end up bumping Josh down a tier. So there's that. And then he kind of went the same route as Justin, which I don't understand. Like Rook. He has one actual backup. All these guys aren't promised to be in MLB. So I don't know. Ryan Pepitue, I know a lot of people are high on him, so fine. Jesus, fine. Lodolo, I've had him for a couple years in the keeper league and out. He's always has an injury, blister. He throws in Cincy. He will have 2 great starts in a row. He'll toss in like a complete game shutout, and then he'll get housed for 4 in a row. Impossible to own really hard. I almost kept him because he was 25th rounder, and I was just like, you know what? I just don't want to deal with that again. So that's a concern. Same Baz in Baltimore. New field, new dimensions, already had home run issues. Concern. Edward Cabrera, he should be good in Chicago. Cody Ponce, that's a concern. And Trey Savage is starting on the DL already. So, there's no punch here. Jesus, yeah, but, he has his ups and downs. And people are high on Pepitue. I'm not as high as him. But, where else? Everybody in the league that's at the top, in my top 5 or 6, has 5 or 6 guys 600 plus, right? He has 3. And 1 is already probably going to start on the IL, and he deals with injuries all year long. So he probably never gets to the 611. He got the 616 last year. So, and then the 616s turned into 7. So he has got 2 maybe. So this is concerning for me. I'm going to bump Josh down. I think Tom has the starting pitching, so I'm gonna bump Josh down and put Tom up a slot. But I don't think I'm gonna put Tom in that tier still. Yeah. All right. At 3, I have myself. I don't really go through my team ever, so I'll just like quickly swing back. It was just too much for me yesterday. That's my own fault. I know that going as a commissioner, I had just too much going on. I made a lot of mistakes. We were outside playing ball with my son, Nico, and and I took Sandy Alcantara, and I didn't want to take him. I needed somebody else. I didn't realize I didn't have picks for certain rounds. It was messy. I felt great because I started off with a great bang. I got Gunner, I got Vinny. I had those extra picks that I traded guys away for last year. Got to start with Freed and Hunter Brown, which is, two of the best in the league, and then got Gilbert. And I was like, oh my God, I have 6 unbelievable players. I think people even made comments in the chat that I was loaded. And then, I don't know, I just feel like the wheels kind of fell off for me. I don't know if I just was overwhelmed with the stress of running the draft, or I just wasn't thinking. But there was a bunch of times I said to Nico, like, oh my God, I missed on the spreadsheet. I don't even pick in the next round. So I ended up getting, I missed on catcher. I started with Bryce too, which I'm really happy about. I think he has another huge year. Should be way down for him. Yeah, he hit 776 last year. This is way down. I didn't want Eugenio. I don't like a home run or bust hitter. It's completely against me. So I had to go and get Bomb, and then I also had to get his replacement in case he does slack. I had to make a bunch of moves because I handcuffed and screwed myself. I'm really high on Lyle. I'm really high on Atlanta and Harris rebounding, him going back to the leadoff spot. Sal Frelick, I'm happy about. Schwarber, I'm happy about. Kurtz is going to be a stud. 586 is laughing. I will. Anybody who wants to take a bet, he's going to have at least 900 this year if he stays healthy. And then kind of same thing with pitching. I just wasn't willing to take a shot on all those guys that kind of Josh grabbed. Max Fried, Hunter, Gilbert was a great start. I didn't want Sandy in that spot, but I kind of felt like I had no choice. Bello had a great second half on me, so I'm banking on him. And then I just kind of missed it. So I really missed the ball on solidifying by far having the best team in the league with all the extra picks I had early, and kind of just stumbled over my feet after I started off really well with a nice 5 or 6 or 8. So I'll probably end up using Heel and Patrick as a swing man, although I really like what I see from Patrick. I just don't know if they're going to let him hang around. But I mean, I guess I have a lot of bump with Schwarber. I guess my offense is better than I'm giving myself credit for. But again, I really love the punch I started with here, and I kind of let this get effed up, and I'm so big on pitching, but I just couldn't grab myself to get some of those guys. Statistically, 5 infield, 6 rest, 5 total offense, 3 in starters, 8 in pen, total pitching 3, total team 3, without the pen 2, and then my bump to 3. At 2, Vinny crushed the draft. I have him at 2 with all the picks. So as I kind of mentioned earlier, I cheated on the I was talking about Josh's team and talked about Vinny, but offense here is insane. Staff a little bit worrisome, but the offense is so good, it should be able to carry him a little bit, where he may only have to swing 2 or 3 of the starters and then find some footing. 3 infield, 4 rest, number 2 total offense. Again, him and Josh are separated by minuscule points, and I think a tier above a lot of people. 9 in starters, 6 in bullpen, 9 in total pitching. Total team 4, total team without the pen 2, and my bump 2. Perez, solid. I think that's more than I've seen from most of the guys up there. So that's great. 480, plus he gets the first base points, which is huge. Araz, awesome for first base, gets the first base points. Probably the purest contact hitter in fantasy baseball in the league. Xavier Edwards is solid. Durbin's going to have a huge year. What's weird is that he was 565 when I was looking to see if Mom wanted to keep or not. And then he got traded to Boston. They downgraded by 100 points. It makes no sense. He should have been upgraded by 100. He should really be 665. Going to Boston only helps him. It doesn't hurt him. Makes no sense. He's up in the lineup, and he also has a better park. Makes weird. Bobby Witt, stud, top 5 player in all the league, if not higher. Cody, my only worry with him is like, is he gonna like he's wanted a contract like this his whole entire career. They keep giving the 1 years or the arbitrations, whatever. Like, is he gonna pack it in now and just get stoned every day and not really actually play? But like the 3 position utility is huge because there's always like these rando outfielders that spark up, and now like Vin, I mean, he's got Tatis, so it doesn't really matter. But like if a center fielder or a left fielder comes out of nowhere, center fielder comes out of nowhere, and Vin grabs him, the guy's averaging like over 4 a game. He can flip flop Cody wherever he wants here, left field. And I swore Cody played enough to get DH last year, but I guess not. But I bet you that comes to Stanton. We'll screw him this year on that. But anyway, James Wood, I actually met him. He's an asshole, but good for fantasy. Corey Seager, when he's healthy, he's one of the best, but he's never healthy. So it's good that he has Bobby Witt because he can prepare for when Seager's out. Ride Seager at utility, doesn't have to get pissed off when because he's got Witt carrying the rest of the way, and then just here you go, Sodstrom at home when Seager gets hurt. Athletics home, right in utility, bang. Like, love this. Suzuki will be back. He friggin' powered the ball through the Cubs win last year. That's huge. Stower is great. Holiday, he was out a little bit longer than I thought, which kind of stinks because I was going to take him too. And then I like this. He kind of just a bunch of like right there. He has just got like a bunch of 2-3s. Gallon's a 2-3. Mitch Keller's a 2-3. Gavin Williams is going to be a star. He's so young. Get better. Gore's a nice 2-3. King's a nice 2-3. Ryan Nelson, he's had one of the best months to close out last year. 3.38 over his last 20 starts. He's way higher than 420, so I bumped Vin on that. Reliever doesn't freaking matter. And then Justin Steele, I was actually thinking about keeping him too because I got him late off his injury, but I didn't. But yeah, so that's a nice piece. And whatever free agent I threw in, I think projection 580. So I like this team a lot. This is a really, really, really solid team. I was between him and obviously who now is my number one, Nico, for majority of the day. So last but not least, Nico. Kind of mad at myself. I let him do this while sitting next to me yesterday, but I mean, he probably started off with the best keepers, I think. Maybe not value wise, but from like a punching point standpoint. His offense infield leaves a little bit to be desired. I know he likes these guys a little bit more, and I know he did miss on a couple or got sniped on a couple, so maybe that was part of it. But I do like this team a lot. So 7 for infield, 3 rest, total offense. I have him at 4. He's kind of in a tier with dad and me, and then there's another drop off. So we're the 3 of us, I think, are a little bit behind Josh and Vinny, and then it's kind of like dad, Nico, me there for that total offense, and then a little drop off starts at Tom, Mom, Chris. Starters for Nico, I have at 2, which, if you have good starters or at least a solid balance of 7, you're always going to be propelled up for me. Bullpen for Nico, 3. Mad, kind of gay, did that. Total pitching, number 1. Total team, number 1. Without the pen, he still ranks at number 1. I have him over Vinny by 20 points without the pen. And then I have myself, I'm about 100, a little less than 100, 90, what's that, 9? I should really put Nico and Vinny in their own. So I have Nico and Vinny about 97 points better than me. So it really should be Nico. Whatever, we'll go over that soon. Contreras, best catcher in baseball, 548. Walker, concerning, hopefully rebounds. Otto, he had a really good second half. I dropped him, and I think Nico picked him up and wrote him out the rest of the way. I like Otto. Caminario, I'm not as high on him as Nico is. I know he's happy he got him back after he didn't keep him. Abrams is a really solid pickup. He got him a lot later than a lot expected. He sniped the in-hap from me. Really my own fault. But I like that. And then he's got the Hap, Crow Armstrong, Acuna, top 5 fantasy baseball player. Naylor is a solid DH. That's already taken care of for me. He's got to wait for someone, and Clement will be a nice piece. He's also got all these guys to move around. Butler went at home. Don't know who this guy is. Brandon Lowe rakes against certain handiness. Bunch of rookies here. Polanco, I know he's high on. He's also going to get the first base points, which probably makes him a 619 player. That will be a huge utility player because that's like having a 3 first baseman here. First base, first base, first base. If you could do that, that's huge. So he'll get Naylor defensive points. He could get Polanco defensive points, first base points, and Walker first base points. Essentially 3 first baseman points. The only other way you could get more, because first base gets the most, is if you had a catcher playing first base. So you could essentially have 4 first baseman D points. So great job by Nico there. I believe that's why he told me he drafted Polanco too. So that's freaking solid. First, yeah, he'll get right off the bat like 400 extra points and D points. So that will really propel him up. And then, man, Skeens, obviously the best. McLean, a little worried about sophomore slump, right? So I know Nico gave him the 2 years so that this year he could kind of wash him. Next year, great. Ryan, solid. Ranger, a little bit of worrisome in Boston, but he's always just so consistently productive, man. 608, and he had that like 2-month-long injury, right? Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it's consistent. Abbott, I think he's going to be better than anticipated. I'm thinking more like low 800s. He was the only one that I was thinking about going after. Singer, a little concerning. And then this is why I kind of gave Nico the bump over Vinny. I don't know. Now looking, I kind of like Vinny a little bit more. Yeah, I might flip this. But they just said today Wheeler's thrown in a rehab game already this week. So what was supposed to be him coming back beginning of May is now here. So now you're getting – there's no way Zach Wheeler's throwing 505, right, if he's throwing a full season essentially. So last year he was 653 with the injury. He's essentially going to throw what? He's going to miss 1 start. So now he's back to his 850, 900 point ways. So this is 2 Paul Skeens right here. Paul Skeens. So that's 2, right? And then ends up making Brady Singer his 6, I guess, right? And Suarez or McLean in a sophomore slump his 7. Like that's a crazy 6'7". I don't even know what that means. That's my son's thing. I didn't even do that on purpose either. That's right. I forgot the Wheeler thing. So, but I do. So that's that for Nico's team. My final count. I'm going to go tier 1. I'm actually going to go Vinny 1, Nico 2, myself 3, Tom 4, Josh 5, Dad 6, Jay 7, Mom 8, Chris 9, Paz 10, Mike 11, Justin 12. In the money, in no particular order, Vinny, Nico, Ryan. 146. Last year I went 142. And what I say I was only going to go an hour? I don't know. Love baseball. Wish I got to do more. Love you all. I got a pack. Good luck. Can't wait for the season. Anything else? No. Peace.